Hi, this is the video for Tuesday, September 21st. If you missed class, hopefully you're watching this video to figure out how you can catch up. Today we started a new story. So we've done 2 stories already in class. We did The Man to Send Rain Clouds, we did Lullaby. This is our 3rd story. You need to read all 3 because our big assessment or our project about this unit is you understanding those 3 stories. So to get ready for the story, we first defined sarcasm and irony, and then we read a poem. What you'll do if you're watching this video, you can click along here, is learn about irony and sarcasm from me. In class, we did it together, and we took notes in our notebook. But I'll show you what that is since you're watching the video. So you can have your notebook out as you hear me talk about this, and you can write down these definitions. Days 9 to 11. This is irony. There's 3 kinds of irony. Situational irony, when your expectations are subverted. That is, what you think will happen is what happens. The opposite happens. The example we used here was the dinner prayer in Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell. You're walking into a dinner prayer, you expect it to be formal, you expect it to be prayerful. And the example in Talladega Nights is the opposite. It's funny, it's loud. There's an endorsement for Powerade at one point. So it's a subversion of our expectations. That's situational irony. Verbal irony is sarcasm. What you say isn't what you mean. You mean the opposite. With sarcasm, we might say, oh, thanks a lot, but we actually mean the opposite. Wish you hadn't done that. We're going to see a lot of this in the poem. And then dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that the characters don't all know. So in all 3 cases, irony is about taking your audience, you, the reader, and messing with what it is that you think will happen. All right, so with that in mind, we went into a poem. This one's called How to Write the Great American Indian Novel, and it's by the same author of our short story, and that's why we read it. We want to understand what his voice is and how he writes, so that when we get to the story, we realize, oh, a lot of what I'm reading is ironic. It's supposed to be a little funny. This poem here, if you're watching the video, is what we did our poetry imitations of as well. I'm just going to read the first couplet to help you understand the tone. So Sherman Alexie writes, all of the Indians must have tragic features, tragic noses, tragic eyes and arms. Their hands and fingers must be tragic when they reach for tragic food. So stop. This is ironic. He, an American Indian, is writing this poem, and he's writing it to make fun of the way that people think about American Indians, the stereotypes that people have of American Indians. There are a lot of cultural pieces, movies, books, portraits, where American Indians are always depicted as very sad, as if they have one emotion. Everything about them is tragic. This is to deny them of their humanity. Human beings have the full range of emotions. American Indians, of course, are allowed that as well. So Sherman Alexie is saying American Indians have lots of things about them, not just tragedy. But if you're going to write the American Indian novel, you have to say they're tragic. So he is being ironic. With that in mind, we moved into the story. So the story, I'm going to show you a little bit of a slideshow and then tell you where to find the story. We looked at the Spokane tribe because that's the region that we're looking at with this story. We've been focusing on the Apache and Navajo tribes, and that's in the southwest of the United States, but the northwest, is where the Spokane live. Washington State, there's Spokane here, in the eastern corner of the state, but now, this is a map of the tribes now. A lot of them have sort of moved to this area. Why? Well, the biggest city in the state is here. It's in Seattle. So the population has moved over to the population center in the state. And our story takes place in Seattle. So our Spokane Indian character, Jackson, says he's a Spokane Indian, and he is, but he lives in Seattle. What you pawn, I will redeem, is our story for 3 days. Your goal here's your author, Sherman Alexie. Your goal today is to read to, get to the stem here for you. Here, 4 p.m. And your stem is he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life, because he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life, and he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life. So write those 3 sentences out in your big Google Doc, and that will be how you show that you did the reading for Tuesday.